Hello again, and welcome to Game Design Live. I'm Jared Richardson, the owner of Circle J Games, and today we're going to be working on High Noon Heist, a game I'm really excited about. So let's get started. Alright, so this is my latest printed prototype. It's got a number of adjustments I currently need to make to it. Some background behind High Noon Heist. It's a game that I backed on Kickstarter, a very small print run, and I really enjoyed it. It was a two-player kind of dueling game where each player has a cast of characters trying to win gold from competing at different heists. Anyway, talking with the designer, he printed a few hundred copies and he didn't have anywhere he was planning on going from there. And so after some discussion with him, we decided to buy the rights to the game. And now it's under our brand, Circle J Games, and we're wanting to scale it up to be a 1 to 6 player game, so expand the player count quite a bit. And so that's going to take a lot of design and development, but we've made some progress. So every player is going to have a reference card. I'm not 100% sure that they're going to look like this. I might have them be bigger size cards that can act as a player mat and reference card on the other side. Need a quote what that would cost. I'm using these as placeholders for coins. The original game used cards for the coins, so it could be all in a tuck box, but I'm wanting to have more cards for other things, and physical coins are nice. I don't know whether we'll stick with cardboard or try metal or something else, but for now these represent 1 and these represent 5. So let me put a stash of them up here as we're getting started. Let's see, a few more ones. Okay. Now, here's a rooster. I borrowed it from another game that we've really enjoyed, Flock Together. I think having a wooden rooster in the game would be a lot of fun. Nice little unique component. So that will probably end up in the final version. Some version of that. Let's see, some more reference cards. Okay, so to have 6 different players, we're going to need 6 different teams. So, Big City Law, here we go. Each team will have 8 character cards, and then a fort and cage, or jail and hideout with outlaws, and then a reference card. So let's separate these out really quick. Big City Outlaws. We've got, slide that on the bottom. I like the art on the cards a lot. Boomtown Renegade. There we go. Big City Renegade. And these are some location cards. Okay. And Boomtown Law. There we go. And one more Boomtown Outlaws. These are 2 city location cards from an earlier version that I don't think we'll end up using, but put him there just in case. Okay, Boomtown Outlaw. And then we've got a set of heists. So the original game, let's trim things down a little bit. The original game just came with law and outlaw cards. Let's go with those. And each player has a cast of, well, a no-show card, and then a cast of 7 characters. And each of them have a unique ability. Each of them has a strength and a rank. So the rank is the stars. In the case of the law, the rank is in bars like you'd see on a military uniform. A little bit different of an aesthetic. So what would happen is each player would hold their entire hand of cards and choose one card face down to send to each heist. Maybe the heist is the outpost, for example, where if you play a 1 bar card, this would apply to law. If you play a card with 1 bar on it, then law gains an extra coin. So that incentivizes law to play a 2 or a 1. And now outlaws know that law is incentivized to play a 2 or a 1. And also whoever wins this heist gets a money bag. For now, the money bags and the coins mean the same thing. So the outlaws might think, well, I could go ahead and play the Desperado, for example. Move all cards except for the highest strength card to the cage or jail. And that would go ahead and jail one of those lower strength 1 bar cards. Or maybe, yeah, that's the only one that would cage that card. So let's go with that. Say law puts down their 2, outlaw puts down their 3. You simultaneously reveal, and then outlaw would evaluate first. First the heist effect. So law played 1 bar, so law gets a coin, and then outlaw evaluates, move all cards except for the highest strength card to the cage or jail. Creature goes to the cage, which makes him inaccessible for the rest of the game, with the exception of 1 heist where he can break out. And so that's a pretty hard hit for the law, and this ability only evaluates if the law card is still in the round after the outlaw card evaluates. So that's how it would originally play. Lots of fun back and forth trying to read the other players. Law would know that outlaw knew that they wanted to play a 1 bar card, and so maybe they would think, oh, knowing my opponent's abilities, he might play the 4, and if he does, we'll be ready for him by saying immediately move all cards at this heist with 2 stars to the jail. And so if it had been those 2 instead, this would have evaluated, done nothing, and then this would have evaluated, moving the Desperado to the outlaw jail, similarly putting it out of the game. And then any cards that don't go to the jail, say we ended up with, let's see, Actually, the Desperado would have moved himself to the jail. Say we ended up with these two, evaluated both abilities. Law has a higher number, so Law would win the outpost, put it in their stash, and then both of these cards would go respectively to the hideout and the fort. And then they would stay there until that player played a zero, a no-show. And when that happens, you get to collect all cards from the fort and kind of step out of the heist, like you're regrouping rather than competing at this heist, and the heist just goes to the other player. So expanding this to up to 6 players, I knew I didn't want to have 6 different sets of 6 different types of abilities firing off around the table. That would be pretty chaotic, including pretty difficult to keep track of. But I thought maybe I could introduce one more set. So I added the Renegade cards. Now let's go with these ones. Big City. So I added the Renegade cards. Now the Renegade cards, they are kind of aligned with both the Law and the Outlaw. They're their own team, but have different sympathies, I guess, with each side. So the Renegade has their own cast of characters. This one was still being, the artwork was still being done when I printed this. But they've got their own cast of characters. I guess a few cards had artwork still in progress, but their own cast of characters, their own unique abilities, but different numbers. So still a 0 no-show, and then 2 1s, 2 2s, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And that was because their abilities were a bit stronger. Before, if there had been a tie, say both of them played their one strength card, then this gets removed from the game. If a Renegade is in play, then the Renegade wins any ties. So even if Law and Outlaw tie with a 6 and Renegade plays a 1, Renegade still wins that card. So that's Renegade's advantage there. So I've been working on balancing the abilities, and that's been a little bit of a challenge. I still think Renegade is probably the harder character to play out of the lot. These two are fairly balanced. I would say maybe Law is a little bit easier, but so that gets us to 3 players. To go to 6 players, I added 2 sets of each type of card, just with a different town affiliation. So there's the Boomtown Renegades, as well as the Big City Renegades. And then there's the Boomtown Outlaws and the Boomtown Law team. So this gives us 2 sets of 3 different teams. And so adding those all in together, I knew that could be a little bit chaotic, a little bit hectic. To have a consistent order in which everything evaluates, that's when I introduced the rooster. Whenever you play a 0 card, a no-show, in addition to taking your team back from the fort or the hideout, you also take the rooster, and that means that you're first to evaluate, and it goes around clockwise from you until somebody else takes the rooster. And so let's say Big City Renegade had the rooster. both law cards, both law teams played a no-show. This law team would take it, and then this law team would take it as they evaluate respectively. So then for the next round, after everyone evaluates, Boomtown Law would start. Now that worked, except I wasn't sure if I wanted everybody at the same heist because of clashes of exact same power, exact same strength of card. So that's when I introduced 2 different city centers where, you know, if both law cards go to the Boomtown and play the same card, it's the hometown card that wins. Boomtown Law. So that made it simpler with winning ties. However, having 2 different cities made the game a lot longer than I expected it would. Just going and evaluating. So how I had it is you could play your card on either city, which meant that there would be 2 different heists happening, one at each city, and you could choose which one you participated in. But that made the game a lot longer than it should have. The original game was billed as 15 minutes. I don't think I've ever played a 15-minute game, but probably 20 or so. And splitting it, adding a 3rd player, of course, extended that time a little bit, but then splitting it into 2 cities made it more like a 45-50 minute game, which I don't think it should take that long to play. I think this should be a quicker, more rapid fire sort of game. So I tried it out with 1 city, but the problem with just 1 city, everybody playing on the same heist, was that even though that did go quicker, not having to think about 2 different cities and which cards go to whom, even though that went quicker, I found that if everyone was seated like this, for example, the law team that came sooner in clockwise order had a great advantage, because this law team could go first if they have the rooster, but if any other player has the rooster, that's 5 chances out of 6, then this law team goes before this law team. And so if they're playing the same card to jail somebody else and gain a coin, then this law team gains all of those benefits. Now you could evenly space them out around the table, and that would help, I think. Still wouldn't be perfect. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't want to just say, okay, there's these 2 cities and you can only play it at your city, because that's essentially 2 separate games happening at once, and I wanted something that was truly a 6-player experience that brought everybody together, where they're all interacting, not just having their own separate mini game going on. So that's where I am at currently. My latest thought, to ease that turn order advantage. I'm not sure whether this is going to extend the length of the game a lot either, but would be to add a larger sized card that the heists go on, where in turn order you pick which card slot you take to evaluate 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and then After everyone plays, then cards evaluate in that order. However, taking a sooner evaluating spot, like 1 or 2, would come with a penalty, whereas taking a later spot, like 5 or 6, would come with a bonus. So that's what I've been considering lately. Let's see. I've got my notes in here. And the idea is that one player you could pick either law or outlaw, because these are made to go head to head. A renegade would so that would be with one player, and you'd play against the other one in some method. With 2 players, you'd use these 2. With 3 players, you'd throw in a renegade. 4 players, you'd go to both laws and both outlaws. 5 players throw in a renegade, and 6 players, you'd finally use both renegades. So, I think I stuck my notes for this game in I've got a physical notepad right here to record ideas, a bigger notebook that I use to start sketching out on a full-size sheet of paper, and then I've got an online Google Doc with just detailed explanations of a lot of different ideas. Let's see, docs, game ideas. Okay, so let's see where we're at as far as this goes. Got so many notes with this game. The other things that I've been really excited about before I move on to that specific design issue. So the game came with 1 set of law cards, 1 set of outlaw cards. I've tweaked those slightly. It also came with a set of 15 heists that escalate in order, and I liked that. I thought those all were good. I did make a few tweaks to some of the abilities and the locations, but I also wanted to include more variety. So on the back side, I designed another set of 15 heists, and then I added in 15 more cards that introduce another 30 heists, 15 on one side and 15 on another. So that's 60 potential heists that you could use in a game to expand the original 15, which should add a lot of variety. Originally, each heist was organized by level 1, level 2, and level 3. I'm still considering doing that. That adds a little bit of variety. You don't know what order things are going to come up, just whether they're coming in the first 5, the second 5, or the third 5. Or whether I want to order them super specifically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., to really allow for timing specific heists at the right times, with where people's hands are at. I'm not sure on that one, but for now we're gonna stick with the original. So my ideas, let's see. So I was thinking with 1 to 4 players or 4 to 6 players, I would have different sides. in order to offer different options. Let's see. Okay, just grabbing this sheet, preparing it. This is what I'm going to use as my potential player mat. It looks like just about the size I would do it for this size of box. So just to give me an idea, so how this would work is the heist cards would go in the center, and then around the outside would be card slots where you could play your card, evaluating from 1 to 6, and of course the lower numbered slots that evaluate first would come with a penalty, and the higher numbered slots would come with a bonus. So really quick, to see how many cards we could fit around this, I'm thinking that I shouldn't have any more than 6 slots. I was wondering at one point if I should do 8, so that, for example, if players go on slot 6, 5, 4, 3, the last 2 players don't have to take a penalty. But I don't know, maybe that's part of the strategy. So that's a concept I still need to test out. But with 6 slots, let's clear the table a little bit and get this moving. Also, with each player having 10 different cards, and with having 60 different heists on 30 different cards, that adds up card-wise pretty quickly. I think that alone puts us at 90 cards. And with having the 2 cities, I was going to have 2 sets of heists, which would put us already at 120 cards. So it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for other components in a box like this, as well as with the price tag that we're shooting for. So let's see. I want just a regular pencil. And let's draw some card slots. How about we start there? So if you can't tell, this is a game that I have been really excited about. At this point, at this current date, late 2025, it's been over a year since I got my copy of the game. Probably about 3/4 of a year, 8 or 9 months since we purchased the rights to the game. And I've had it on my mind for that entire time. But we need to pull this design together, as we're hoping to launch it early to mid 2026. and there's still a lot of work that needs to go into it. Okay, not terribly fancy, but here is our first center playing mat. And some options that I want to price out with the manufacturer is whether the center mat should be a board with the cardboard, or whether it should be just like a thick card, or whether it should be a neoprene mat, depending on how much margin I have. I think that would be really cool, having a little neoprene play mat. If I was printing one of these for each game, I thought that I might be able to also print another one for each player, and that would replace these two cards, these two reference cards, and kind of be a personal player mat where you've got cards that go to jail, cards that go to the fort, and then some reference instructions. So that's an idea that I'm considering. I need to price all of this out with the manufacturer. We've been using What's Games, and they've been doing a pretty good job for us. So this would be the heist section. And then at each of these, let's see what I was thinking. Okay. So these are going to evaluate in the following order. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. Now the penalty for placing it in the number 1 spot is that it's going to cost you 1 coin. Do a smiley face coin there. Number 2 spot, it's going to cost you 1 strength. Represent with that for now. And then this is going to be -1 in your rank. And now I'm just gonna do a little squiggly there. And then that's going to be no effect for the 4th spot. The 5th spot is going to be +1 in your strength. So in that spot you could actually make a 7 and 8. And then right there, that's going to be +1. Okay. So, let's see. yeah, that's what I need to go and test, see what it does to gameplay. What I'm a little bit concerned about is that gameplay at 2 players is going to feel drastically different to gameplay at 6 players. Maybe that's inevitable, but it's worth giving it a shot. The other thing that I considered was making it into teams. So the 2 outlaw teams are together, the 2 law teams are together, the 2 renegade teams are together, and that would be all right if I have to go that route. But I'm really hoping for a game where each person can kind of step in as an individual and not feel like they're just being tacked onto a team. So let's see how that goes, and I'm really excited to update with the final product. If you would like to offer any suggestions or ideas or comments, questions in the comments section, love to hear and respond to those, and hope to see you in the next Game Design Live video. Thanks.